Welcome to the Pizza Party. I am the Pizza Guy, DIY, encouraging you to do it yourself, fool around, find out, do something, even if it's wrong. It's not morally or ethically wrong. That's not what we're talking about. But, break things, burn things, experiment, push the limits, do whatever you want. It's your pizza. All right, so there's my intro. And now let's just hang out. I'm telling you to buy stuff and do things in this video because that's what I did. Today, I'm going to show you my first pizza video at the end of this video, or at the end of this. But it's the first time I was on camera. And, hey, I drank a lot of beer to make that happen. So, tip the bartender. My first white pizza is what I'm going to make in this video, Alfredo style. So I'll be using a store-bought white pizza dough ball from the company called It'll Be Pizza. It will be pizza. It'll be pizza. They sell dough balls. Are you kidding me? Really? There's a whole company that they make dough, they roll it into a ball, they freeze it, and they ship it to my local store. Yay! Capitalism for the win, bro. All right, so anyway, let's go on. First, I made some Alfredo sauce, which for me, that's one whole fresh garlic bulb, minced or coarsely, finely chopped, whatever you want to call it. And then that is sauteed in at least a half a stick of butter. Sometimes I add a couple extra pats of butter because it just doesn't seem... Well, sometimes it gets too thick, and sometimes you need to oil it up with a little bit more butter. All right, so anyway, then you use heavy cream, 16 ounce, 1 pint, and then you put in a 6 ounce bag of Parmesan cheese. And I also then judge whether my sauce is thick enough or not. And I know the Parmesan is going to, you either need to use all of this sauce all at once, or if you try to save some of the sauce when you try to melt it again, that parm is going to separate from the butter, and you're going to get this really bulky material and a lot of buttery oil. But you put that over pasta and it's not bad. It's still not bad. Or I like putting it over garlic bread. I'm not a big fan of pasta. So anyway, here we go. Okay, so let's start over. Alfredo sauce is one whole fresh garlic bulb that's been chopped up in whatever way you like to chop it, coarse, medium, or finely minced, whatever. And then you saute your garlic in half a stick of butter, but then and then you put that into a pot and you pour heavy cream in there, and then you pour your Parmesan cheese in there, and then you watch your sauce develop its thickness and you stir under heat, and you determine whether or not you need more butter or if you need more cheese. So sometimes I will add the Italian blend of cheese because I've run out of Parmesan. And it works. You put in a little bit of Romano, what's it called? It's a 5-cheese Italian blend. Romano, provolone, mozzarella, probably a little bit more parm, and I don't know what the fifth one is, but whatever, dude. Italian blend cheeses as needed to thicken your sauce. And then the mozzarella cheese will be used on top of the pizza. So there's also chicken, mushrooms, and bacon bits. Yeah. All right, so here's the definition of a white pizza. And I'm just going to let you pause the video and read this. Pause. Boop, 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 boop. No, I didn't pause. All right, so bottom line, despite debates over what qualifies as a true white pizza, the core principle remains no tomato sauce. All right, so if you just made pizza dough, okay, let's go with a simple example. Cheese pizza. What is a cheese pizza? It's a pizza crust with tomato sauce and cheese. What's a white cheese pizza? Well, it's the same exact thing without the tomato sauce. You got a pizza crust, or you got a pizza crust, and you got cheese. It's a white pizza, dude. It's a cheese pizza with no red sauce. So yeah, I know it's weird, but you can riff on that, and they do. They use ricotta, which is kind of like a really gross form of, well, cottage cheese to me is gross. So ricotta is just more gross. So anyway, read this to your heart's content. I'll shush. No, you pause. I'm gonna move on. But wait, they did say bechamel sauce or Alfredo sauce instead of oil and garlic. Hey, I would do that. So here is the typical, what do they call this? The usual suspects, the typical cast of characters required for me to make a pizza, because I like to have all that stuff in my pizza sauce, and it's already been there. Wait. Oh no, look at this. I gotta backtrack, dude. This stuff is going in this white pizza, but these are all the usual suspects that go into my roasted garden tomato mason jars of tomato sauce, pasta sauce, whatever. So anyway, here we go with the normal stuff that I usually put into this pizza or into this sauce. My Alfredo sauce starts with a half a stick of butter, a full clove of garlic, or a full head of garlic. Clove is one little sliver of the garlic. A whole head or whole bulb of garlic, coarsely, finely, or minced, into a frying pan. You're about to see this, okay? So just let's not belabor the point. And then from here, we see that, oh, I remembered I had chicken in the fridge, yay, and then I remembered I had bacon bits in the cupboard, so bam, added some stuff. So here we have the 8-inch an 8-inch cast iron pan is actually almost 10 inches at the top to be 8 inches at the bottom. This is an unusual 8-inch cast iron pan. Like my roommate, this is my roommate's, and it's 8 inches at the bottom and 10 inches at the top. The Lodge, a Lodge cast iron pan in the 8-inch variety is 8 inches at the top and guess what, 6 inches at the bottom. Yeah, so anyway, I'm comparing this cast iron pan, which is 10 inches at the top, 8 inches at the bottom, to the 9-inch aluminum pizza pans that I just bought. Yeah, I know, man. I go on and on, don't I? So anyway, there you can have a good look at the 10-inch versus 9-inch. But this is kind of deceptive because you cut an inch off the left, and then you go over to 9 inches. Wouldn't that make the aluminum 8 inches? Okay, so I pulled out the frickin' cast iron and gave you a direct measurement on the aluminum pan itself. And if you notice at the very tippy top, it says pizza something Nordic Ware made in USA. So there you go. There it is, pizza crisper, Nordic Ware made in USA. All right, now I just want to mention that my countertops I clean with this: 1 cup of each. 1 cup of water, 1 cup of 70% isopropyl alcohol, and 1 cup of distilled white vinegar. So water, alcohol, vinegar. That's what I use to clean my countertops, Formica countertops. Even though it's fake, it's supposed to fake you out. Oh, look, you have marble countertops. No, you don't. Come on, man. But it also works on laminate flooring and glass top stoves, and it's very safe. I've been using it for years. So anyway, let's carry on. It'll be pizza. Here's the specialty pizza dough called the white pizza. It's like white bread compared to, dark wheat or dark rye or sourdough or anything else. There's no flavor to this pizza. Like the last pizza I had was a basil pizza from this company, and it tasted very yeasty or very bready, like a dark wheat compared to white bread, because white bread is got no flavor whatsoever. Anyway, here's a dough ball. You can see the wrinkles from the package. That is the cellophane bag that it was in, dude. That's what all those wrinkles and all that weird formation or crevices are about. Wrinkles. So then, this is an oiled pan. I flipped it over and then I covered it with a dish towel and I waited for it to rise. Well, it never really rose because it'd been in my refrigerator way too long. It had been on the shelf at the store for a full week before I got it and waited a week to make it. So I think it kind of like failed to poof or proof. But I'll show you a picture of that later when I have two different, oh God, what? I don't have an adjective for it. Two different varieties where I had an oily ball of dough and a floury dough ball. And then cover it with a dish towel. Now, here's the packaging from It'll Be Pizza. And it's white. Their white dough is the variety of their specialty pizza dough. It basically means flavorless dough, right? So, since it's flavorless dough and we're making white pizza, and it's not supposed to interfere with, what you're putting on top of your pizza, I decided instead of using just, a little olive oil and a little bit of garlic, and then some cheese, I didn't want to just make a cheese pizza. I went ahead and busted out the full Alfredo pizza, right? So I took a whole bulb or a whole head of garlic. I chopped it best I could. I mean, it's coarsely chopped, medium chopped, and slightly minced. So there it is. And then I had a bag of, or I bought 8 ounces, a half pound of Baby Bellas. Man, you won't believe how badly those are, how minutely those cook down to almost nothing, dude. So here is the garlic and half stick of butter. It got nicely golden, and then I set it aside. Then I threw in the mushrooms, and they got nicely sizzled, and then I put them together. That is the mushrooms and the garlic and probably another slab of butter, but not a full half stick. But overall, I think I only used a half stick, maybe a couple extra pats. But here it is. These are primary ingredients for homemade Alfredo sauce. Half stick of butter, a full head of garlic, a 16-ounce pint of heavy whipping cream, and a 6-ounce package of Parmesan. Ta-da! You're done. Now, here's what I mean by, I think I threw in an extra pat or 2 of butter. I see 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5. And then I realized, hey, you know what would go good with this? Bacon. So I realized I had some bacon bits in the fridge for salad. Decided I'd throw them in with the garlic, or with the garlic and mushrooms. And then I would throw that into the sauce. So now we have a Parmesan heavy Alfredo sauce with tons of garlic, mushrooms, and bacon. But wait, there's more. I had chicken in the fridge, so I threw that in. It was only about 8 ounces of chicken, so maybe a half pound of chicken. And, I gave that the good choppy chop, and then I threw it in. And now everybody's, hanging out, swimming in the pool, and I broke out the same day purchased cheese, which was expiring Gouda truffle cheese. Yeah, you'll see this later, but this was an oddball. I was just going to put down mozzarella slices, but when a mushroom Gouda came to my attention at the store, I went for it. And it turned out to be fantastic. Well, I mean, amongst everything else that was in this pizza, I don't know how much that specific specialty cheese affected the flavor, but if it was just plain Jane mozzarella or provolone, I think everything would have been fine. All the same, because there's so much more in this pizza. This was one of the best pizzas I've ever had in my life. Ever. Best pizza in my entire life. 61 years of pizza. This was the best. So I think that's saying something. Anyway, here is the dough. Here is a pile of flour on the countertop. That was washed with the cleaning solution I showed you earlier. Now, here we show, my reluctance to get too much flour on the dough because I thought I would ruin it and it would dry up and get weird. So, I cut that dough ball in half because the dough ball was designed, I assumed, to make a 16-inch pizza. Turns out, it's basically a 14-inch is what it's designed to make, or a 12-inch. I don't know. I do that in another video. They all start to run together, dude. So you can see the butter knife is there for scale, so you understand how big and how small this thing is, and how big and small these guys are. They're about, if you put the butter knife in the same place on these pans, it'd be about the same. Whoops. And here, I'm just showing you that I used olive oil and a silicone brush to paint my brand new, I washed them first, of course. They delivered them to me. I washed them with Dawn, degreasing, dishwashing, whatever, non-odor, fragrance-free, blah, 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 blah. I washed my pizza pans and I coated them with olive oil. Then I took this pizza dough and I threw it down on there. And you'll notice I was trying to keep the flour away from one side, and the flour got to the other side. But the other side looks a lot more like pizza dough, and I didn't get it properly shaped. I was like trying to do the rotate and smoosh, and now I've seen a thousand other videos since, and my next pizza balls will be better. I promise. I swear. Maybe. But the one on the right, it looks pretty oily and nasty and gross, but guess what? Once I par-baked them or pre-baked them, they came out pretty close to the same. The one, I think, on the top is the one that has the more flour in it. The one at the bottom left is the one that was oilier. And then there's that Gouda Parmesan or Gouda truffle cheese. And I scooped a bunch of sauce on there and put a bunch of mozzarella on there. And I baked them. Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. This was the best pizza. I told you, this has been the best pizza I've ever had. I love Alfredo. I made some bomb-ass Alfredo with the mushroom, garlic, and bacon. Holy cow. And it wasn't a lot. It's just a little taste, right? You could barely, I think you'd have to work really hard, or I might have to tell you that, can you taste the bacon? It's like when you go to a wine tasting. Can you taste the oak barrel? Well, not until you said that. Now all I taste is oak. So, you know, it was absolutely phenomenal, but I realized that the underside, the undercarriage, was like remarkably weak milquetoast, crappy. So I threw it back in the oven on the bottom rack, because the heating element at the bottom rack is going to give me a little more color on the bottom. And it did, and I ate the pizza, and it was fantastic. And then oh, there it is. God, isn't it beautiful? Dude, I'm telling you. But then, when I reheated the pizza, I threw it in a cast iron pan, and it got even more color on the bottom, and that's why you see caramelized cheese around the edges, because as I just made a video recently about reheating your pizza in an 8-inch cast iron using the oven and the stovetop simultaneously. So I'm going to refine that because I'm learning, right? I'm doing it myself. Right? It's a DIY, Pizza Guy DIY. I'm fooling around, finding out, and I'm doing something even if it's wrong, and I'm learning from my experience. I'm gaining experience by screwing up and making happy accidents. Let's call them that. But the bottom of this dough really got quite nice. A lot of cracks and crevices. Yeah, there's some mushy. It looks like raw dough, but it's not. It's warm. It's hot. And I'm happy with that. And there I am. Happy camper. Beautiful pizza. Beautiful me. And visit troysweb.com for more content from me as a creator. Dude, I'm out of breath making this video. So anyway, I promised you my first pizza video, so here it is. Be nice. This video may determine the future of this channel or if it gets deleted. All right, let's go. Welcome to the Pizza Party. My name is Troy from troysweb.com. Visit my website for links to all of my YouTube channels. They're all in progress because YouTube forces me to put things into buckets. Even though I cook food in the kitchen that includes pizza, and I build things in the yard that require I draw a blueprint, they're not going to know who fits with me, right? So I have a garden. I'm the garden guy. I am the pizza guy. I'm the floor plan guy. And there's another one. And then I'm also Game Brain Media. GameBrain.media is a website that I also have. I have 5 different channels there because YouTube requires that I put my gaming into different buckets. And there you go. So today, we're going to be making a pizza. This pizza is going to be made with It'll Be Pizza crust, or It'll Be Pizza dough ball. Okay? Here is the dough ball. Now, before I go into that, because that's a story in and of itself, I want to show you this. That is a 9-inch Nordic ware perforated pizza pan. Now, if you consider that most pizza dough crust recipes are designed to help you create a 16-inch pizza or a 12-inch pizza. So, I figured these are perfect. I can make a dough ball. I can cut it in half, put half of it in the fridge, and wait a day or two, or a week, or 3 days, or whatever. So, if I can take a 16-inch pizza dough ball, cut it in half, that makes an 8-inch pizza. This is a 9-inch pizza pan. So a 9-inch pizza pan, all you really need to do is take half an inch inside this perimeter, or spread your dough out a little bit more, and you're going to end up with a little thinner crust pizza. Then, that's what I want, and that is exactly what I want. I'm going to get a 16-inch dough ball recipe. I already have one. I already bought my scale. I bought my ingredients. I'm going there. I'm getting there, bro. I know it's been a long time coming, right? For me to be even be on camera and to be using real dough and stuff. So my goal is, and the point I'm trying to get to is 16-inch pizza dough ball. Cut in half is 2 8-inch pizzas. These are 9-inch pizza pans, right? I can make 2 separate pizzas and have a fresh pizza. I can eat this whole thing and not have to make a 16-inch pizza and have half of it to be a reheated pizza. In some cases, reheated pizza is okay. People like cold pizza. People are weird, and I don't like cold pizza. But if I can make two freaking frackin' crack-a-lackin' pizzas, here's one. I cook it. I eat it. It's fresh. Here's another one. I can change ingredients. I can do, instead of making a half and half 16-inch pizza and reheating half, I can do whatever I want with these little guys. This was the best find I have ever found, and they're $11 each, right? 22 bucks, two 9-inch Nordic ware pizza pans, perforated pizza pans. Yep. And I'm here to tell you, Nordic ware is very good quality material, product. It is made in USA, stamped right there on the label. I know you can't see that because I'm being a hyperactive weirdo. All right, so anyway, let's get on with the party. It's time to pizza party. Yeah, okay, I don't even know what I'm saying, dude. I'm just, go ahead, try to put yourself on a video and make sense. And today I'm going to take this and I'm going to combine it with this. This is the It'll Be Pizza dough ball. Oh, look at that! It's sliding around in there. Look at that. All right, so there's a big faux pas here. I screwed up. I bought this. Okay, I'm gonna back up and slow down. Okay, give me a minute. Hopefully you understand. This is like hanging out with a friend in the kitchen and doing things together. I'm not trying to give you an instructional video, although it will be that as we go. You're just gonna stick around and put up with the jokes. You call them jokes? I don't think so. Anyway, I went to the store and I was looking for a preformed pizza dough ball. And I looked in the frozen section and I looked in other sections and this, that, and the other thing. I went to 2 or 3 different stores because we only have two. Actually, we only have 2 grocery stores. We had 3, but one of our grocery stores closed, bro. Yeah, we live in a town of 9,000 people, so there's not a whole hell of a lot here. One of them is, my primary source of food is Walmart. Isn't that weird? And then we have a little store that's kind of like what's it called? Whole Foods. I don't want to name names, but it's a central Midwest chain. It only covers 3 or 4 states, but they are substantially higher end than Walmart. They do have in-store brand products and stuff. I'll probably leak the name eventually, but anyway, they carry the It'll Be Pizza dough balls. And when I saw that, I actually got online and I looked for pre-made dough balls, pizza dough balls, or frozen pizza dough balls. And It'll Be Pizza came up, and something else called like Pizza Boy or something, but they don't supply my particular punk-ass town with product. Or my punk-ass town's Walmart doesn't buy that as part of their normal inventory. So all they carry is a little powdered mix, which I've made videos about in the past. Man, this is getting really long, isn't it? Let's get on with it, shall we? Yes, we shall. Who says that? Anyway, so It'll Be Pizza. I found a dough ball. It was the only one on the shelf. I found it by accident. It was in the bakery section on the cold shelf. But the cold shelf in the bakery section is next to the deli section. It's usually filled with deli meat, so I was never expecting this. I did ask a woman to help me out and show me the frozen bread dough, and she did, and none of it was pizza. So anyway, I ended up back in the bakery section a different weekend, and looking around, I found It'll Be Pizza, IT''LL. It'll Be Pizza. And they had a basil pizza dough ball. So I brought that home and I made a 16-inch pizza with that. And I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't really go on the internet and do any research on that particular product. I read the label, and I'm going to show you this. It'll Be Pizza. This is the white pizza. It'll Be Pizza. But anyway, the basil pizza dough I didn't cop a basil flavor vibe at all. I call it a huge yeast flavor. Okay, so was it on the shelf way too long? I don't know. But then when I saw this was the only thing they had on the shelf. And it's called the white pizza. And I thought, it's just like white bread, right? Instead of semolina or any other kind of, like it's not the basil flavor, it's not the garlic flavor. But no, it's designed for a white pizza sauce, which is a lighter pizza. But look, I'm not going to go off that deep end. And oh my gosh, I have so many deep ends. I'm like, you talking about diving boards? Got one here. Now there's one here, then there's one over here, and another one over here, another one over there, another one over here, another one over here. I learned so many things because I found some pizza cookbooks at a garage sale. Whoa! I'll tell you all about that in another video. Subscribe, man. How else are you going to keep up with me? Weirdo. Anyway, here we go with It'll Be Pizza white dough, and it's designed for a pizza blanca type thing, or whatever you want to call them. There's tons of varieties of ways to make pizza with this white crust, and it's intended to just be lighter. And I don't think this is particularly gluten free, but it might be, and maybe that's why that's there, because you put some cream sauce on there, but cream comes from a cow, so the vegans can't eat it. So I don't know. Anyway, I bought this 2 weeks ago, and I bought a bunch of ingredients to go with it. And then, long story short, things happened last weekend where I didn't get to this dough, and it's been in this bowl for freaking 3 hours now, and it has not risen. So I think this dough and the yeast has died. But we'll find out. I'm about to throw a bunch of flour on the countertop and squish this dough ball into two 8-inch pizzas. Because that is a 16-inch dough ball. Cut it in two, bang, two 8-inch pizzas. And then I'm going to cover it with a bunch of stuff that's coming up. Stick around. The video continues. But now I'm going to switch over and probably do a bunch of individual still shots. And then I will do a voiceover and narrate the rest of the video. Okay. I really wanted to do, what's his name? Paul Harvey thing. The rest of the story. There you go. How'd they do? So far, so good? Hopefully, stick around. Next part. Let me give you a little teaser. What's going to happen is I'm going to get some, I have a big-ass garlic clove. Yeah, it's big. And I smashed it up, I diced it up, I toasted it in butter. And it got nice and brown. Then I threw some mushrooms, I think they're cremini, and I threw that in a bunch of butter. Then I threw the garlic in there. And now I have mushroom garlic. Woohoo! Put that aside. Put some bacon bits in there because I just didn't have real bacon to cook. Fool around, find out, screw up, and don't buy the right stuff. But no, the bacon was an afterthought, and I think it's a great afterthought. So anyway, it's bacon, garlic, mushroom, heavy cream, butter, Parmesan, Alfredo sauce. That's going to go on my version of a white pizza. Oh, and I also threw in chicken, and then covered it with mozzarella. Yeah, I know. If you watched any of my previous videos, you're going to come to understand very quickly that I overload my pizza and I overcook my pizza. You can fix that for yourself by watching my stupid mistakes and learning that, hey, don't do what that guy did. So anyway, let's see. Video, pans, fresh ingredients, hybrid. Oh, yeah, this video is going to be a hybrid, like I've already mentioned. It's going to be part video, and then I'm going to start throwing in a bunch of pictures and voiceover. So let's get on with it, all right? Come on, man. Shut up and get busy. And there it is, my first video on YouTube with math. I was going to say my ugly mug, but I'm a pretty boy. So, oh man, there's so many videos coming up and so many possibilities and so much time ahead of us, right? So hopefully you will subscribe, like, share this video with people. Click that button. It opens up a link that you can send by email, text message. You can tweet it. You can Facebook it. You can WhatsApp it. You can Instagram it, I think. I don't know. I usually just text things to my dirt biking buddies. Not pizza videos, but, you know, whatever. So there we go. Leave a positive comment. Let me know if you want more videos with my, what'd I say? Not ugly mug. Pretty boy. I don't know. Fuck. Fool around, find out, right? See you next time. Pizza guy is gone.